What's up, reselling world? Welcome to my channel, Reseller Life. My name is John, and I am a full-time online reseller. I've been a full-time reseller for 4 years now. 3 of these years, my wife and I owned and operated a brick-and-mortar secondhand store. What I have for you today is a sold video. What I'm going to do is show you some items I sold this past week, let you know where I sourced them, what I paid, and roughly how long it took to sell. But before I get into that, I want to give a big shout out to a group of guys that invited me to be a guest on one of my favorite shows here on YouTube this past Sunday. The show is Fortunes in Reselling. So big thanks to Chris, Liquidation OH or Ohio, Wade from Wade's Ventures, Scott, the Bearded Picker, and my buddy Shane, the Rise and Grind Picker. So if you guys haven't heard of them, at this point I think I got most of my subscribers by being on that show. But if you haven't heard of them, definitely check out their channels. But without further ado, let's get into the sold video. And first thing we got here is a pair of Carhartt coveralls, extreme weather insulated, men's size 40-34, new with tags. So I've had these for about a year. They were listed last year. This is definitely a wintertime sell. I got these out of a storage locker, and so I probably have about a quarter or less into them. You get so much volume out of storage lockers in comparison to what you pay for them, that if you just did an overall average of all the items in there, you should be definitely paying less than $1. If you got a real good buy, less than 50 cents, which typically is about the ballpark that I'm in. So these took a year to sell, but I didn't expect them to sell in the off season, and if they didn't sell right off the back last year, so I expected them to sell this year. This is actually the second time they've sold. The first person returned them, and it was because they said they didn't fit. Right here on the tag, it says $149.99 retail, which I believe that is what these sell for retail. I could have got closer to that on Amazon, but I was gated. So they didn't actually sell for $55.05. I took an offer from somebody for $40, and I could have held out and asked for more, but it had already been returned once. They were listed last year, and sometimes I just get tired of looking at things, even if I know I can get some more for them. Carhartt itself, the brand, is definitely a great brand to look out for, new or used. And it's kind of like an all-weather, real durable, thick material type clothing. So this, not counting the off season of the summertime, which it wasn't going to sell. This sold within just a couple of months of the cold season coming on. So overall about a year, but it can only sell certain parts of the times of the year. But 50 cents into it, and we got $40 out of it. Carhartt, definitely be on the lookout for. Next up, this is one of my favorite items to find or sell. Super easy to list because they all have model numbers on them, and they're very common to find, and I can typically find these entire units for about $5. I will pay up for them because I do really well on them. So this is a Cuisinart Classic model food processor. All the Cuisinart food processors do really well. This one is a DLC10C, but they all do well. So unless I find one brand new, I will part them out every time, because each individual part, from the lid, there's a little pusher part that goes up here inside the top of the lid. It goes down in here. You have a working bowl that goes on the bottom, and you have a main blade which is a metal blade. It also comes with a plastic blade and a lot of disc blades as well, but that metal blade is the one that you find most commonly with it. And then there's a heavy duty motor or base that goes to it. So these things I'll typically get about 20 bucks apart, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but it's very, very consistent, and they're very, very fast sellers. So this I think I paid $12 for the entire unit, and this part itself sold within a week. So I would say I have about $2 into it, and I got $18.10 out of it. Cuisinart food processors. Cuisinart makes a lot of different brands of appliances and that sort of thing, but the processors are what you want to be on the lookout. Not so much the blenders or any other ice cream makers or appliances like that. The food processors are where it's at. So next we have this is RAM memory. This I get this from a surplus auction locally, and I will buy them by the box. They come out of computers, and well, for instance, this last buy that I had, these weigh less than an ounce a piece. It probably takes 3 or 4 to make an ounce, maybe 5 or 6, depending on the size. These are laptop ones; they're a little bit smaller. So it would probably take about, I would say, 6 of these to make an ounce. And so what I did is I bought a 20-pound box of them for $500. Basically, I just average it out and say that I have $1 into each one. One thing you should know about brand, not a huge deal. I mean, there is some pricier ones, some better ones out there, but from what I've noticed in my experience, brand isn't super important, but the memory is. And what you're looking for in memory right there next to the Hynix is that 2 GB, which is 2 gigabytes. Anything under 2 gigabytes, I wouldn't put too much effort into. I mean, if you want, you can research them and try to find out if there is any value to them. But from my experience, anything under 2 gigabytes isn't really worth my time. So, and if you do get 2 gigabyte ones, it's good to bundle them up, especially if you have matching ones like this. So I have $1 into each one of these, sourced them from an auction, and we got $9.35 for them, and it took roughly 2 weeks to sell. They sell very fast too. Next up, all right, so this is a life-proof phone case for 7 or 8, iPhone 7 or 8. This is a retail arbitrage from Walmart. We sourced these about, I would say it's been about a month now. We have $10 into this, and it sold for $26.60. All right, next up. Okay, a little story behind this one. This was actually in a recent haul video that I did, and this is not your typical Tommy Bahama. Well, firstly, it's got a great pattern. It is all silk, and it is a rare one because it is a Christmas Tommy Bahama. If you can see down there on the bottom, right toward the center, there is a Santa Claus on a surfboard. And you got a Marlin over here wearing a Santa Claus hat. I believe there's some hula girls on there also wearing Santa hats. So this is definitely a more rare Tommy Bahama. These typically sell for $35 to $55. I wanted to push this before Christmas. I really wanted to get out before the holidays, and I rolled the dice to see if an auction would do well with it, to store up some traffic. I'm not a big fan of auctions. I rarely do them, and it has to be in a situation kind of like this. So I started the auction out at $9.77, and surprise, surprise, I got $9.77. It says right here that there was 2 bids, but I'm sure that was the same bidder who probably really wanted it and put his initial bid in for $9.77 and then put another bid in just as a security bid just in case somebody else bid him up. So yeah, I mean, I probably could have hung on to it and gotten 35 at the least, but I was hoping to create a commotion and really get it seen. And that was kind of the big thing also, is Tommy Bahama. There's probably 50,000 active Tommy Bahama listings. So to get my one Christmas Tommy Bahama out there and be seen, well, it's tough with that much competition. So I figured it would work its way up to the top or close to the top auction style. So I did run it for an auction. Sometimes this is what happens during auctions, but that's okay. This was sourced at a yard sale, and I paid 50 cents for it. All right, this we sourced out of a local thrift store. One of our local thrift stores always has a basket of remotes, and I always fish out the DVD or receiver remotes and some of the other oddball remotes that are not basic cable or satellite remotes. I do not recommend basic cable or satellite remotes. I paid 25 cents for this. It took about 5 days to sell, and we got 11.05 for it. All right, so these I sourced out of also another local auction. I buy um, electrical wiring by the pallet load. So it's typically mixed all together with basic coax wire and AC adapters, power supplies, these computer adapters. It's always just a big mesh of these types of things. So a lot of people, for the most part, at these auctions will buy these pallets of wire, and they will go straight from the auction and go to the scrapyard because it's an easy way to double or triple your money within just a few hours or a couple hours. I prefer to process through the entire pallet and pair things up and bundle things up and look up model numbers and sell them off individually. I definitely, it's, I'll make 10 times my investment rather than just taking it straight from the scrapyard, from the auction to the scrapyard. But it does take a lot of work because if you can imagine a giant bin or pallet full of wires is going to be a huge rat's nest. So it does take some time. It takes a full day, sometimes a day and a half, to process through an entire pallet or truckload of a basic, 6-foot bed truck full of wire. So keep that in mind if you're going to one of these auctions and you want to do this method with the cords and the adapters and the wiring. So these themselves, there was probably about 200 of these in particularly in one of the bins or pallets, and I bundled them up into bundles of 5 because that appeared to be the best way they were selling. And if you can see here, we were able to make 15 of these quantity-wise. And we're selling them for $10.17. If I would have taken these to the scrapyard, I probably would have definitely would have gotten less than $1 for them. So now I have altogether about 15 available, which is going to be about $150 after they all sell off. So yeah, have less than I would say about maybe a quarter into these, and they took about 2 months to sell this lot in particular. All right, so these came out of a storage locker. This is a Jiffy hose, and it's kind of a nozzle for like a restaurant type sink or for dishwashers for restaurants, and they're high powered, and yeah, it came from the storage locker, so I have roughly 50 cents to a quarter into it, and I actually found a box of these. So I have, I believe, well, this is the last one. We had a few prior to this, and they've all been selling for this price, $30.84. So restaurant supplies, definitely be on the lookout for restaurant supplies. That stuff does get expensive, and it does sell used. That one itself was new, but it will sell used. All right, so This is a motor for a Roomba, one of those robotic vacuums that will vacuum your house or when you're not there or you're there. Um, Not all of these Roombas are worth parting out, and that's what I did here. This I didn't buy this motor or anything. That we when I get the Roombas, I part them out. There is a few vacuums that I will do this to, not just the Roombas. I would recommend Roombas, Dysons, some of the Sharks, Kirby vacuum cleaners, and the Rainbow. Rainbow, I don't even know if they make them anymore because I haven't seen any modern ones in a very long time. But all these vacuums are very expensive. The Rainbow itself is, I believe it's like a $4,000 or $5,000 vacuum. The Kirby is right behind that one. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout. People are paying definitely a high premium for these vacuums, and they don't have a great resale as a unit themselves, but parting them out is phenomenal. What I mean by though with that, they do sell all together, but they won't sell nowhere near what you pay for them new. So Roombas, the model was a 4,000 model, and we listed this I would say about 4 months ago. So I think I paid $5 for the entire Roomba. We get about 25 parts out of it, and they range between, I would say, $7 to $25 a part. All right, so these old planers are definitely something to be on the lookout. Even old or new, some people collect them. Uh, Either way, they're built very well. Some people like to use the hand tools still to this day for wood carving, and always have really good luck with planers. So this is a vintage Bailey number 4. You'll always see a number on them. Typically, let's see if I can zero in on it right there up front. It has the number 4 right there on the bottom, right at the nose. So there's a little bit of damage on this one. You can see that there's a big crack right there in the knob. And I'm not sure if that screw and bolt up top is supposed to be there. So that was probably a repair. But this was listed for about 8 months. I believe I paid $5 for it at a swap meet or flea market, and it sold for $20.76. Next up, okay, definitely be on the lookout for these vintage snow ski suits. The brighter, the better. They're from the 80s, 90s, and this one I sourced from the Goodwill bins. I think I probably have about $3 into it. It took 4 months to sell, and we did get $39.32. And that's what we're getting for. I don't do free shipping on a lot of my items. I will do free shipping on some of the wholesale or retail arbitrage stuff that I do because I know exactly what I have into it. I know exactly what it's going to ship for because most of my arbitrage stuff is a first class shipment under 10 ounces. So I'm more comfortable with doing free shipping with those because I know that the shipping isn't going to dramatically vary. So all these things that you're seeing, unless I specify otherwise, the buyer did pay for the shipping. So this is another DVD remote. I don't know if it's it's a DVD combo remote. This one I also sourced about a week ago at a local thrift store, paid 1/4 for it, and sold for $8.30. All right, so this is a Thorsten dog bone. Dog bone is just is what they call these wrenches. They have the shape of a dog bone, but they're just multiple sizes on each side. They rotate. Just a hand tool. It's the brand is nothing special, but the tool itself is semi-popular. This was listed for about 10 months. We got it out of a storage locker, so I have 50 cents to a quarter into it, and sold for $10.98. All right, so this is a common remote that I find, and there's different models, but they all look the same. They all kind of have that screen on them, and this is a very good remote to find, especially the newer ones. I've sold these remotes for up to $100. Some of the newer models that are out today. This is definitely an older one. Paid 25 cents for this one as well. This one took about 7 months to sell, and we did get $26.13 for it. Next up, this one came from the Goodwill bins. This is a New England Patriots white long sleeve t-shirt. I have, I would say, about $1 into this from the bins by weight. I like to pick up NFL teams. This is an NFL team. I like to pick up sports memorabilia. A lot of times it doesn't go super, super high, but you are almost guaranteed kind of a bread and butter $8 to $15 for this sort of thing right here. So Patriots are definitely a good market too. They have a great following, and their recent history is really, really good in the sports world. So they're definitely a hot team. They've been a hot team for the last 20 years. So Patriot stuff is always going to do well, it seems like. This here is a retail arbitrage. This is a spec phone case for a Galaxy S9 Plus. I hope that they caught that when they bought it, because I just noticed in the title that there's no plus behind the 9, but there is a plus in the picture. So, hey, we're human. It happens. This might be a return. That's all right, though. Hopefully, I can try to contact the buyer and see if I can situate it before any feedback is left or anybody gets upset. But anyhow, we have $3 into this. I sourced this at a Walmart about 2 months ago now, and sold for $9.77. These phone cases did vary in size and weight, and for some reason I didn't do free shipping on this one. This was a kind of a large retail arbitrage find that I found, because we did buy about 300 of these. All right, so this is an old listing. This was actually listed well over a year ago, and I recently re-inventoried some of my inventory, and I just I re-looked at this one because it was actually down to less than $1 in my listings, because I lower my price by 10% every 30 days until things sell. And I was going to pull this out of my inventory when I just kind of thought to myself, you know what, this looks like it should sell. So I actually relisted it. I tinkered with the title a little bit, and within 1 week it sold. So that tells you right there that messing with your titles, messing with your pricing a little bit does make a big difference, because this was listed for probably 15 months, I had it priced at basically $1, and then I relisted it with a different title and sold within a week for $7.52. Same pictures. So that tells you right there. Go back and tinker with your listings. If you're certain that you have good product and it should be selling and it's taking too long, go back and tinker with your titles a little bit. Keywords, switch them around, do something, and it could make a difference. You never know. It did for me on this one, and it's actually done it for me quite a few times before. I paid, I believe I actually got that out of a storage locker, so we got about 25 cents into it. This came from a surplus auction. This came from, all these parts came out of a working environment, so I wasn't too worried about testing them, because I don't even know really what this is. So I was comfortable listing it as tested because of where it came from and the source that I got it from. There was a pallet full of audio, video, interface, computer parts and pieces on this pallet, And one great thing about this sort of thing is you can just look up the model number, and there you go. Super easy. If there's a comp to go off of, then you can just go from there. If it's something that there is no comps and you've never heard of and there's nothing to go off, just aim high and put a best offer on there, and gradually just keep dropping your price until you find a buyer or it just goes stale. You got to test the waters. So this, though, did not sell for $40.60 because, well, it did. This one itself did sell for that, but they did buy all 6. So this was actually a $246 sale, and this was actually sold during that live show that I did this last Sunday, Fortunes and Reselling. I did really well for the 2 hours that show was going on, but this right here, this sale was like half of what we made in that 2 hours. So yeah, surplus auctions, do your research. This took about 9 months to sell, and I probably had $1 into each one of these, so about $6 in whole, and we got $246. Okay, we got these at a Goodwill. We have $5 into them, and they took about, I would say, 2 weeks to sell. So these are Keen hiking sandals. Keen is a great brand. They're getting a little bit on the flooded side, so you're not getting what you used to for them, but there is really appealing models out there that people really like, and they do sell fairly expensive retail. So I definitely recommend looking out for Keen shoes. Just don't pay up for them. I wouldn't recommend paying too much for them because you don't get what you used to a year ago for these. They do still sell very consistently, but you're not getting the margins that you were a year ago. Okay, this came out of a storage locker. It's been listed for a year. This is a vintage Swatch watch. Try to say that one 10 times fast. Swatch. That's a tricky one. So these are made in Switzerland. Basically, any watch made in Switzerland is a good find. I don't know of too many watches that come from Switzerland that are not good watches. This one, there's a huge collector's market for it. I thought this one would do a little bit better. Price-wise, I'm okay with that, $15.34, but I thought it would sell faster. But you never know. So we have about 50 cents to a quarter into it. Took over a year to sell, and we got $15.34. All right, here is some more RAM memory. This one is also a 4 gigabyte. I have $1 into this one, and we got $15.10. Took about 2 weeks to sell, and this one, in comparison to the last one you saw, this one is for a desktop computer that's a little bit longer. It's not shorter like the last two that I had showed you in the last sale. So RAM memory, anything above 2 gigabytes is a win. Sells very fast. And I have $1 into that last one. Sorry. So Canary cycling wear, black gel padded bike shorts. So cycling is an expensive sport. Cycling clothing, the bikes themselves, all the accessories and equipment, super expensive stuff. It is an expensive hobby for sure. These I sourced at the Goodwill bins, so I have about I would say 75 cents into them. They took about 6 months to sell, and we got $11.10. The cycling shorts, one easy way to be on the lookout or to find them or spot them is there's always padding right around the butt and crotch area of them, male or female, because they spend so much time riding on a small seat that, a little extra padding doesn't hurt. So cycling, the brand itself, not anything super great, but cycling equipment as a whole is definitely something to be on the lookout for. All right, this came from the Goodwill bins as well. It's a little Guinness beanie. We got probably a quarter into it. Took about 6 months to sell, and we got $8.13. For some reason, Guinness is super flooded. There's so much Guinness stuff out there, but Guinness does well for me. I don't get a ton for it, but I definitely get that bread and butter range, that $8 to $15 range for T-shirts, beanies, and whatever kind of trinkets, mugs, or beer koozies or anything like that. So, there is a lot of Guinness stuff out there, but it sells well, new or used. So be on the lookout for Guinness stuff. All right, this here is a King Cobra golf club. This is a 3 hybrid. Um, a hybrid, you can always tell by the size because it's got a bubble top to it. It's not flat like an iron. I got this from the Goodwill about a week ago. Paid $2 for it and sold for $19.35. King Cobra is a good golf club to be on the lookout. Be wary of the old stuff though, because the old stuff, the technology is dated and it doesn't sell as well. So there's typically a name, model number, and a number to the clubs, so you can always do your research on them. Remember, the shaft is very important also. All right, so this was sourced from the Goodwill bins. I have about 75 cents into it by weight. And Chaps is not really a brand that I would typically buy, but I dug the pattern. I thought it was loud, I thought it was fun, and I thought it would draw some attention and we'd do a little bit better. I think I originally listed this one for probably $15 to $17. It's been listed for about 10 months. But it's got a lot of these bright colors. It's really cool, very unique. And if anybody's wondering, this color right here is a paisley. That's the pattern. I mean, not color. The pattern is a paisley. We got it right here. So if you see a lot of neckties that have a good brand to them, and they have this pattern to them, the word you're looking for in your title is paisley. So 75 cents into it, 10 months to sell. We got $7.96 for it. All right, anybody remember this guy? This is Brain from Pinky and the Brain. He was part of the Animaniacs, and I invested a lot of time and hours watching him and his buddy Pinky. So he is a vintage cartoon character from the 90s, and got him from the Goodwill bins as well. He took, I would say, about 8 months to sell. I got less than, probably about 50 cents into it, and he sold for $8.78. All right, so I got this one from the Savers bins, which I don't recommend you looking for or going to because they don't exist anymore. But I got about, I don't even remember exactly how many of these, probably 200 or 300 of these gloves for $5 for the entire lot from the Savers bins. And we sell them in lots of 3 for $6.71 with free shipping. There's not a lot of money to be made on top of that, about $2 or $3, but I've had them for well over a year, and I probably still have another 50 or 60 of them left. Still just trying to push them. So had them for at least a year. I probably have a nickel into each glove. Sell them in lots of 3. And this one sold for $6.71 with free shipping. All right, this one we could have gotten from the surplus auction or the Goodwill bins, because I do buy pallets of phones, and then I also buy them from the bins. Either way, I have less than $1 into it. This one has been listed for, I would say, a month, and we got $21.05 for it. And this one is not complete. It doesn't have the cordless phone that goes to it or the power adapter. So you can still sell them in parts, which I do in a lot of cases. Panasonic is a great brand for cordless home phones or business phone as well. So this is a retail arbitrage deal. We have outlet stores here in the Tucson area, and there is a Converse outlet store there. Every once in a while we'll check it out, and I'll scroll through the clearance area because they do some phenomenal clearances at the Converse outlet. One thing about it is you don't get a box with it. You get a box, but they cut the tops off. So you can't send them into Amazon, and they're typically too damaged to even waste your time shipping them on eBay because they'll just affect the size and weight of your shipment and raise the cost of shipping. So we listed these as new other. We purchased them for $10. They took about 3 months to sell, and we got $27.38. More memory. This is a better brand of memory. If there was brands that were better, this one is better. It's that G-Skill, and it's their Ripjaw series. This is 4 gigabytes. This is for a desktop computer. I have $1 into it. Took about 2 weeks to sell, and we got $16.80. Next up, this came out of a storage locker. We actually got 4 or 5 totes full of the original Harry Potter action figures and accessories and toys and that sort of thing. This one, so we have less than $1 into it, maybe about 50 cents. Took, I would say, 3 months to sell, and we got $9.99 for it. Yep, bikinis in December. So this is a I don't even know, Sessa brown one-piece swimsuit. This is just something left over from the summertime. I source a lot of swimsuits and one pieces, tankinis, 2 pieces from the Goodwill bins all year long, and I will store them away for the summer season. Don't get a ton of margin, or we don't make a ton, typically 8 to 10 to 15, sometimes 20 if it's a Victoria's Secret swimsuit. But the thing is, the summer slowdown is a real thing. Sales do plummet quite a bit. But one thing that does sell for me during the summertime is swimsuits. So I will stock up on swimsuits and list them come March, April to kind of make up for the sales slowing down quite a bit. They're almost kind of a guarantee in a sense. They're definitely gonna fill in those gaps of all the other merchandise that doesn't sell for you, and they're consistent. So this one just kind of found it didn't go this summer, but hey, still selling them in December. Got about 25 cents into it. Came from the bins. Took about 6 months to sell, and we got 701 for it. Don't know much about the brand, so I can't get into detail with that with you. This is a vintage Everlast crop sweater. Crop sweater means that the sweater itself just kind of ends right around the belly button area or above. This definitely has a great 90s look to it, and I like 90s vintage and 80s vintage, or really vintage anything that's appealing and was kind of an iconic brand at the time. Everlast was it was so-so around the 90s. There was just a certain breed of people that was into the Everlast type stuff, but I thought it was cool. I'll take $10.36 for it. It did take a long time to sell, about a year. And it came out of a storage locker, so we have about 50 cents to a quarter into it. I don't know if I would recommend sourcing Everlast unless you're willing to settle for that bread and butter margin between 8 and 15, and you're okay with waiting a while for it to sell. Just don't ever pay too much for it. Alright, so this is another one of my favorite things to sell and source are thermostats. Used thermostats. There's a great market. So if you go to an estate sale, hey, and you see a digital thermostat, especially a one with a big screen on it, typically the bigger the screen, especially if they have a touch screen, the better they are. So if you go to an estate sale, what's it going to hurt if you ask them, hey, can you buy the thermostat? I mean, the house is going, so you never know. But luckily for me, I got a couple of thrift stores locally that get quite a few of them. So I have sold these things for $5, and I've sold them for $100 used. This one is a Honeywell. This is kind of a basic one I find pretty commonly. Got this one from a local thrift for $2, and it took I would say about 5 days to sell, and we got $17.08 for it. Alright, this is a retail arbitrage. I got these from Walmart about 3 months ago. I paid $1 a piece for them. Took 3 months to sell, and we got $30.60 for it. Alright, so this is a Case Logic CD travel case. I got this out of a storage locker about 1 year ago. They were listed maybe a couple years or a couple months afterwards. So I have about this storage locker itself. I know I have maybe a nickel into this. I do okay with camera cases and CD cases and this sort of thing. Brand and size do matter, so I would definitely research them before you list them. But yeah, they're not a bad thing to look out for if you can get them for less than $1. So took about 10 months to sell, have about a nickel into it, and we got $6.85. All right, this is an old 2000 unopened, sealed factory box of baseball cards. Unfortunately, there was just a big era of baseball cards where they just really flooded the market and they overproduced. And this took well over a year to sell. And I got it out of a storage locker, so we'll have about 50 cents into it. Just the big thing is, I mean, I'll take $19.40 for it all day. It's just the fact that, you know, the baseball market and where it's gone with flooding the market. It's just unfortunate. I was a big baseball card collector when I was a kid, and it was during that 80s, 90s era, and you know, right around the 2000 era where they overly produced them and they kind of shot themselves in the foot. So, but with that though, do not stray from definitely the older baseball cards. There is some rare baseball cards out there. There's lots of rare baseball cards out there. I just not a huge fan of between the mid 80s or all the 80s altogether. I would say all the way up to about the 2000. Just overly flooded. There is some cards in there. They're just really hard to come by. So took about a year to sell, 50 cents into it, and $19.40 is what we got. Here is another Panasonic phone. I believe I did get this one from the Goodwill bins, so I have maybe about $1.50 into it. This one took about 5 months to sell, and we got $11.76. Here's some more RAM memory. This one is a 4 gigabyte. Ballistic Sport is another semi-better brand. We have $1 into it, and it took 2 weeks to sell. $16.24. All right, so LSU actually did pretty good this year. Maybe not for the LSU standards. I think they finished in the top 10. And they're actually playing their bowl game here in Arizona. So this one has been listed for about a year, and I did ship it to somebody in Arizona. This came out of a storage locker, so we have about 50 cents to a quarter into it, and sold for $7.26. And this is another one of those things, so that's the sporting t-shirts type thing, where you're going to get that $7, $8 to $15 range for them. Just don't pay too much for them, and make sure they're in good condition. Alright, so this isn't really a brand that I would recommend. It is an expensive brand. Retail, Kenneth Cole Reaction. It's kind of a JCPenney brand or Macy's brand. Definitely nice clothing. Very nice clothing. I don't know how much I would recommend reselling it though. Definitely flooded and not the best return. This was listed for, I would say, about 15 months. Came out of a storage locker, so we have 50 cents to a quarter into it, and we got $4.52. Next up, okay, these New Balance golf shoes I got from a Goodwill about 3 months ago. Listed them about the same time. We have, let's see, I think I paid about $6. Actually, $3.50 because it was half off day at that Goodwill that day. So about $3.50. New Balance is a good brand. Look up your model numbers. Condition is very important, but I would definitely recommend New Balance to be on the lookout for. Don't overpay. Condition, model number, very important. So 3 months, $3.50 into $17.05. All right, more RAM memory. This one is a 4 gig Micron. Have $1 into it, 2 weeks to sell, $15.90. I actually sold a lot more of these memories this week, but I try not to put too many of them into this video because I didn't want to bore anybody with the same thing going over and over. Alright, so this one is a retail arbitrage. We got this one from Fry's, or in some areas of the US, it'll be called Kroger's. It's a grocery store, and I bought about 12 of these books. I paid $2.99 a piece for them, and this is they're selling for about $10.85. There is free shipping on this one, but I actually changed that because I could be making a little bit more on it. They were selling for a little bit higher. So, yeah, they took less than a month to sell. All right, so this came from the Goodwill bins. It was there was an entire system that came with this, and a very expensive light pain management system or something like that. Some of the parts on it weren't working, so I just sold it all for parts and repair. So yeah, parts and repair. It's just it's a power supply with a kind of a module unit here, or control module, I think is what that is. And we have maybe $1 into it. Sold for $25.30. All right, these here are EMS, fire, or police uniform pants. They're the brand is Flying Cross. I got these from the Goodwill bins about 10 months ago. I probably got about 200 or 300 pairs of them, literally that day. We have a really big fire department in the Tucson area, and I'm assuming that they just donated all of their old uniform pants to the Goodwill. I don't believe they went to any of the retail stores. Pretty sure they all just went straight to the outlet that day, and I just kind of skimmed through all of them and picked out all the ones that were in the best condition, and I believe I filled up about 6 or 7 of their carts getting them all. They have been selling consistently for the past year or so. We started them out at right about $18 a pair. We sold quite a few of them for $18, and each month I lower my prices on all my product by 10%, and this is kind of what it's come down to, $8.08, which is okay because I have about $2 into each one of them, so I'm still making a profit on each sale, and I've definitely made my money back a few times over at this point. So yeah, police, fire, EMS uniform pants, they are very expensive. They're not flashy, they're not fancy or anything like that, but they are expensive, so be on the lookout for them. Definitely take measurements of them, though, because you're only going to get a waist measurement on them. They are all uniform, so they're sized per the employee that got them, so the bottoms are always going to be hemmed. So definitely take your measurements. This was a retail arbitrage find at Walmart. I got these for $3 a piece, and they sold within 3 days. And the gentleman who bought them bought 2 of them, and it went for $8.30 each, from so $6 into just under 17. And pretty sure it was a drop shipper, because I mean I can't sell HP on Amazon. The drop shipper expressed, or this individual expressed, that he sells to a lot of large wholesalers, and to make sure that there's no stickiness, residue, any damage whatsoever to the box, bins or anything like that. Make sure that it's shipped in a new um, box and overbox it. Basically, he gave me the rundown that FBA, Amazon FBA requests for their FBA shipments. So I sent in his FBA shipment for him, which is okay because I made my money. He's a drop shipper, whatever. To me, he's just another customer. I would have sold it for the same price to anybody else. So, hey, he's got his drop shipping game going. I got my eBay thing going. Good for him, good for me. We're all making money. Even Walmart made money. So, right on. All right. So next up, this is a Eagle Creek 2-pocket fanny pack. I do pick up fanny packs, basically of any kind or sort. Some of them you get a pretty good premium for. This one went for like in that bread and butter range for $9.42. I got this one at a local thrift store. It was been listed for about 11 months, and I paid $1.25 for it. All right, here's another Everlast. This is an Everlast sports bra. I thought this was cute. You know, I thought this would sell fast. I thought it would do well. I thought it was appealing. It had the Everlast sign on it, so I figured it was kind of like a vintage '90s sports bra. We didn't put that in the title. We definitely should have or could have. But at this point, this was about 1 year to 12 months ago, and I had a handful of employees doing my listings for me. And I just couldn't keep an eye on them at all times and edit or catch all their titles and their listings. You know, when you hire employees, eventually you gotta, you know, cut the cord and put some faith in them and see how they do. And for the most part, they all did very well for me. So this one came out of a storage locker about a quarter into it. Sold for $3.49, and it was listed for 12 to 15 months. All right, so this was actually my shirt. This is a iconic gentleman from the Old School movie with Will Ferrell. This is blue. I actually never ended up wearing this shirt and cleaned out my closet one day, and I figured, you know what? This is still blue. Maybe we can get something for him. And it is, I mean, it's a new shirt. Still listed as pre-owned because it did sit in my closet for, you know, well over a year. It was listed for about 6 months. Basically have nothing into it because it would have just been thrown away or donated. And we got $5.12 out of it. All right, so not all audio cassettes are sellers. But I do have a lot of luck selling the empty cases. So just because you have an audio cassette that's not a good seller, that does not mean you have to discard the case. And historically, this is about what I get for them. I get about 50 cents a piece for them, and I try to lot them up into at least a 15 lot listing. Try to avoid the ones with cracks. I've never really had any issue with ones that don't match like this. Like there's black, clear, gray, and oddball ones. It doesn't seem to matter too much. I mean, it wouldn't hurt that if they were all the same, but I believe you're still going to get about 50 cents a piece for them overall. And yeah, you know, they sell consistently, so I would say go for it. They do crack on the hinge, and they do crack quite a bit on crack. Sorry. Anyhow, across the front or back. So cracks and broken hinges, do not add those to your lot. They took about 6 months to sell. And I believe that one, those ones themselves, they came from the Goodwill bins, and all of them by weight I probably paid less than $1 for. Here's another spec phone case. This one took about 2 months to sell, and we got $11.30 for it. We have $3 into it. It was a retail arbitrage from Walmart. All right, this is, I used to get a lot of these leotards, these gymnastics or dance leotards from the Goodwill bins. because I can get them for basically a quarter or 50 cents because they're all youth sizes. They're very small and they typically sell very, very well. This is another one of those ones that I probably could have definitely tinkered with the title a little bit because we normally get about, I would say, $8 to $15 more, closer to the bread and butter price range for this, and this one did go quite a bit lower at $3.20. I would have switched some of these around. It says youth, girls. Girls does not matter. It's a leotard, so that shouldn't be in there. Youth, I would have put down here behind size. I like to put the brand first, then style, which would have been a gymnastics leotard or dance leotard. Then, oh, I'm sorry, brand, what it is, style, color, and size. That is my preference on a listing. And then when you have space left over, throw in some extra keywords. So I try to put it in the way I would search for something to try to, it's just, like catching a fish, you got to make it look natural. You got to make it just the way they would do it. And this was put in by a lister well over a year ago, so you can, it might have been one of their early listings, just learning. So no big deal though. We still did make a little bit of money on it, even though it sat around for at least a year. Alright, so this is a vintage men's U.S. Polo Association yellow pullover. This came out of a storage locker, so we have about 50 cents to a quarter into it. I would definitely not recommend the U.S. Polo apparel. It just doesn't sell as well as regular Polo or Polo Ralph Lauren. I'm not even sure really how this got listed, but somehow it did still sell for $13.88. Yeah, so right on. But you can tell by the background, if you've watched any of my other videos, that that's a very, very old background. So this one has been listed for, I would say, about 15 months. This, I would say, is a fluke. I wouldn't recommend a U.S. Polo Association. But it's old. Hey, why not? Maybe I should go back and check comps on it. But I'm pretty sure this is not a great brand. Alright, so I find a lot of these little dictionaries or translators or pocket electronics, these older pocket electronics, and I would probably never pay over $1 for them, but they do sell halfway well. I mean, decently. There is still a market for these. People still look for them, and they still use them. So this is like a little pocket dictionary. I'll normally get the bread and butter range for these, $10 to $15. This one is broken, and I believe that's why we got a little bit less for it, because there should be something that closes, like a lid that covers up and closes on this thing, and that little smudge on the screen we did try to clean off, and it didn't come off. So the reason why I think we got $6.70, excuse me, sorry, I've been talking a lot. The reason why I think we got $6.77 for this is because it is broken or not complete. It's functional, but not complete. Got about $1 into it. Took about 10 months to sell, and we got $6.77. All right, more memory. So this is 8 gigabytes in total. Got a buck into each of them. It's a little bit of a better brand. They are trending for $40, but I always run a legit 15% off sale, so as to push product faster and undercut the rest of the market. So yeah, 2 weeks to sell, $1 into each, and we got $33.80 for it. Next up, so this is a perfect example of bad pictures and not I mean, the title's not too bad, but these photos are not good. This is a brand new with tags, women's Harley Davidson long sleeve shirt. It's kind of a flowy V-neck or long V-neck, but this thing should have been steamed. It should be on a better mannequin. that it would fit a little bit better. The backdrop is not great, and really didn't capture some of the better graphics on them on this. See here on the sleeve is a better selling point, and down on the bottom here with the Harley Davidson. We probably should have got more like the $20 to $25 range for this, but photos sell. So photos are very, very important. Um, that's the first thing people are going to see is their photos. They're already punching in the title. They know what they want. They're looking at the photos. So we definitely undersold this when we shot ourselves in the foot with it. So learn from my mistakes. Got this out of a storage locker. So we have 50 cents to a quarter into it. Sold it for $10.59. Took a year to sell. And yeah, I mean, we still did make money, but we could have made more with just a little bit more effort. All right, this is a retail arbitrage from Walmart. We got this about 2 weeks ago for $7. This is a Pokemon men's watch. And yeah, sold it for $28.05. And that's the second one we sold this week. All right, this is a Kingston Dynamic microphone. It's kind of like that Bob Barker style. Not exactly, but that's why we put Bob Barker style and not just Bob Barker microphone. People are onto these types of microphones. This is another example of something that I had listed a year and a half ago. Started it out somewhere around this and just kept working its way down and didn't sell. Just didn't sell. It was down. This thing was down to $4 and change, or $3 and change. Never sold. I did take new pictures of it. I changed the title and I put it back up to the price that it was originally at, and within 1 week it sold. So tinker with your titles on your dead stock if you have faith that it is something that is going to sell. This one in particular, there was no comparables. This was the only one out there that I could find. I couldn't even Google this model. So I knew I had value here because there is a collector's market for microphones and there is some rarity in this one. So I'm really stoked that when we went back, relisted it, new photos and a new title, and we were able to get $30 for it. This came out of a storage locker, and we have about 50 cents into it. I would definitely recommend microphones, especially vintage microphones. Microphones they do get very expensive and very collectible, so always be on the lookout. Research your models. Look up your models for sure, because some of them are duds. This came out of the Goodwill bins. I have about $1 into it. I always grab printer power adapters. They do really well. They're super consistent. I'm always getting about the bread and butter range for them. These photos are not great. They're actually taken on my coffee table while I'm watching football or something like that. But power adapters, power supplies, AC adapters are so easy to list. And I think in a lot of cases people aren't too particular on the pictures for these because it's something that they need. It's not really something they want in a lot of cases. So yeah, I wasn't too uptight about these pictures. They still sell very well for me. I have a lot of these AC adapters and power adapters listed. I always have less than $1 into them. I can't tell you exactly how long it took for this one to sell because I have hundreds and hundreds of these things listed. So about $1, and we got $6.09 for it. All right, this one, this was actually on one of my haul videos. These are disposable cameras, waterproof disposable cameras. They're all expired. I got these from the Goodwill for $2 a piece, and funny, they all had Amazon stickers across the barcodes. So these were probably sent back from Amazon. Maybe because they didn't. No, these things actually do sell. I think it probably has something more to do with the expiration date. But I sell lots of expired cameras and film. These were listed for about 2.5, maybe 3 months. I have $14 into them, and they sold for $38.07. All right, this is another you know, cordless home phone. This one didn't include the AC adapter. We should have added that into the title, but it was in the description. I did contact the buyer and ask him if he was aware of it, and he said he was, and go ahead and send it. So yeah, this one was listed for about 5 months. I have about $1.25 into it by weight. We got it at the Goodwill bins, and we got $9.58 for it. I pick up a lot of these at the bins too. Victoria's Secret bras. There's not too many other bras that I will pick up outside of Victoria's Secret or Pink brand, which is also Victoria's Secret, because they just don't sell quite as well. This is actually the lower range of what we get for the Victoria's Secret bras. I think that because this one does not have shoulder straps to it. The condition was fair though. So we got less than a quarter into this, and we got $8.57. We get up to about $30 for good Victoria's Secret bras. So don't pass them up. I mean, if you're not embarrassed to pick them up and pay for them, I'm obviously not. I've picked up hundreds of them and sold hundreds of them. I'm okay with it. This is a vintage Lone Star beer hat. I would say it was in new condition, but it was old. And I don't know for sure if it was used, but there was a sticker still on it. Right here. The big thing with it was like there was like the color just wasn't super white right there on the inside brim. The sweatband is what they call it. So I'm like, man, I'll just put it as pre-owned, excellent used condition. I paid 25 cents for it at a local thrift store, and we got $21.05 for it, and it sold in about 5 days. This is another AC adapter. I could have got this from the bins or the surplus auction. Either way, I have less than $1 into it and sold for $5.85. I don't get a lot for these AC adapters, but the thing with them is I get, on average, I would say about $10 a piece, because they do sell for. I've sold them up to $70, and I've sold them, as low as $3 or $2 and stuff like that. But overall, on average, I get about $10 a piece for them, and I can literally list 20 of them in an hour. So, no, they're not home runs, but they are super easy to list. They're always very cheap, and they're very consistent. As you can see, I sell a lot of them. If you're aiming for a certain margin, they're super easy to look up, and there's plenty of them out there, and they're always cheap. More memory, 2 weeks to sell, $1 into it. Sourced it from a surplus auction, and this one is 4 gigabyte. We got $13.26 for it. More memory, repeat of the last thing. Let's see, $1 into $10 from the surplus, and it sold in 2 weeks. All right, this is another retail arbitrage. I have about 200 bottles of this Roundup weed killer. The other one, it's listed here at 94, but we have another one that's like just a little bit different size and style. Maybe it's a different mix. I have $5 into each one of these. I am doing free shipping. We're not making a lot off the top at this price. I might have to raise it a little bit, but I'm trying to make a little bit of the money back that I got into these. Keep in mind, there is a lot of Walmarts that have this Roundup, and they're clearancing it, and I don't know. Maybe I jumped on it too early at $5. They're selling really well on Amazon if you are not gated in hazmat. But I think $5 was probably as cheap as I was going to get it before somebody else came and picked it up. This is something that I might raise the price on, because there's not too many people that are looking for weed and grass killer in December. So this is something that is going to do a lot better for me after the rainy season in April, May, and even better going into June, July, and August. So I might raise the price on this for what it was trending for this last in the summertime, which is about $29 to $32, and I might just sit on it actually. So I think I am gonna do that. I'm gonna raise the price on that because I'm only making about $3 or $4 per sale on this arbitrage because I am doing free shipping. But retail arbitrage, $5 into it. This one has been listed for about 2 months and sold for $20.27 free shipping. All right, last one. This is also retail arbitrage from Walmart. Tomcat Mole Killer, and we have $6 into it. We did do free shipping on this one, but this is a first class shipment. So I have about $9 total into it, and we're getting $17.42. So we're making about a $6 profit. So it's kind of a buy it for $6 and make $6 in profit. So if there's any of these things sitting around at your Walmarts, I would pick them up if they're selling them at that $6 range, because they did sell super fast for me. I had about 20 of these at one point, and this was the last one, and they all sold within a month's time. Anyway, that's what I got for you this week. That's a pretty good chunk of my sales for the last week. I hope y'all were able to take some nuggets from it. If there was anything that I missed or didn't mention and you're curious about, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'll definitely get back to you. Yeah, thanks again for tuning into the channel, and if you could help me, hit that like button. It does help me. It does help the channel. Definitely encourages me to make more of these videos. So we'll catch you next time, guys. Have a good night. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye.